This episode is brought to you by Topper Jewelers. Did you know that Topper Jewelers allows you to pre-order watches from almost 20 watch brands on their website? As watch enthusiasts, the team there know what it's like to anticipate those new watch releases, especially when they're followed by the phrase limited edition. This is why Topper Jewelers has a user-friendly pre-order selection online, allowing you to place a small deposit while ensuring your allocation for that new, highly coveted timepiece that everyone else is desperately searching after. Check out their pre-order selection at www.topperjewelers.com. Welcome to the 10 and 2 podcast. I'm Kat. I forgot my name.
Your face expression made it even better. We should just keep on going. I feel like it would give people a little bit of the old and new
a little blend.
Mess it up.
All right. Well, I'm Kat.
Oh, I'm Katlen.
And we're here every week talking watches, photography, adventure, and exploring the world of horology.
How are you?
I'm good.
Now that we made it through the intro, there's so much pressure.
There's a lot of pressure.
That's how it starts.
I'm such a bad actor. See, I can't do it.
It's not too bad.
Well, we got past that.
And that's the end of the show. Now we're Yep, that's it. Bye. I'm glad we were so stressed. Like, we really wanted to make sure we had iced coffee, and clearly we're both slacking still today.
This is normal.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, we do have a fun episode today because we have a fun episode every single week.
Yeah, we do.
That's what we do. Limited editions.
Limited editions. I'm so excited.
I am too.
So, of course, everybody's talking about limited editions right now. Hodinkee just released their summer edition swatch. So this one's not a limited edition, which I love that this isn't a limited edition. But it's a System 51, and they have a cute little flack too.
I know.
For kids.
For little
and
kiddos.
They're so pretty. Like,
it's like their pictures
the white is
that they
amazing.
did on those little kids. Oh my gosh. Like, so adorable.
It makes me want a small child so that
me
I can
too.
take
just to buy
Can somebody just bring their small child over? Like, to be clear, we don't actually want small children. We just want to like photograph people's small kids wearing watches. All of this sounds terrible.
I know. It's like you had to be really careful on how you said that.
I did. But no, so that was really cool. And then the unofficial 10 and 2 Zodiac came out.
Yeah.
And when we say unofficial, this watch, first of all, we pressed hard for this watch. I remember last summer when they put out their different colorways and they were going to have people vote. And we really pushed hard for this orange and white. I'm a little disappointed in the fact that it's called the creamsicle.
Why?
Also, I mean, I do like creamsicles, so I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess it sounds very summery.
It sounds very summery. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it could have been volunteer.
Oh, it's like sherbet. It should have been the Zodiac. It was sherbet.
Is it sherbet?
Yeah.
It's orange sherbet?
Orange sherbet.
Where did I see creamsicle?
I think you made it
Maybe
up.
That's just... No. I was going to say, that's just Fat Cat.
You probably saw a hashtag out there.
Fat Cat was talking for a minute. It's fine. Dang it. Oh,
Yeah.
I forgot. I can't say that because you're Kat and I'm Katlen.
Yeah.
But my alter ego.
You just dissed me.
My alter ego who likes to eat a lot.
People are like, dang, you're rude.
Dang it. Oh, man. I keep forgetting certain things. Like in certain environments, I'm no longer Kat.
It's your alter ego.
It is. Like I have a friend in Chicago whose name is Matt. So when we go out to eat together, it's Fat Cat and Fat Matt.
Oh,
and
man.
We go out like, man. Well, I don't know where we were going with all that.
I forgot where we were.
We were talking about the Zodiac, the 10 and 2 Zodiac, which is perfectly Tennessee ball color. Only 282 pieces of this watch too, which is ridiculous. And I have resisted.
We both have. This was like really hard.
It was one of the hardest watches to resist.
I'm telling
also
you.
because everybody has blown up our DMs expecting us to buy this watch.
I know.
I think they're still available, and I'm still trying to say
There's a
no.
few out there. Yeah, there's a few out there.
I don't need to hear that.
It's so well done. And Zodiac has just been killing it lately. These last few years, I mean, they've done these watermelon colors and just great summer fun. They still kind of look vintagey. They're, of course, they're a little bit bigger. Some definite upgrades to them too. But yeah, they're great looking. I honestly, when they were teasing the colors for this one, there was like the orange and white. There was this like ugly brown. Remember, it was like a brown and black.
Yes.
Do you remember that combo?
I tried to find the story that we posted on our Instagram.
I saw it somewhere and I was like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. And then there was like a blue one that was pretty cool. But that black and bright brown one, ugh.
Yeah. And who wouldn't vote orange and white?
Yeah.
It's basically
summer.
Like, I think of Rocky Top every time I see it. Like, that song plays in my background.
Yeah.
So, But so let's talk
People
about
are not going to buy the watch now because we've like ruined it for them probably.
everybody. Like our friend Josh, stuff and watches. He was messaging
Yeah.
me. He's like, I love this watch, but now that I know it's Tennessee colored and I'm an Alabama fan, I can't do it.
Boo.
Yeah, don't be petty like that.
Yeah,
Whatever.
rude.
You can support orange and white. It's okay. Kat's wearing orange and white today.
I'm wearing my
Very
Tennessee Vols
convenient.
shirts.
Really festive. But yeah, well, so the problem that you brought up about these watches is Zodiac does these really fun colors, but then they make them limited editions.
Yeah.
And especially 282 pieces is not a lot. It's only sold in the United States too. And only through, I don't think they're selling it on their website. I think you have to go through an authorized dealer to get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a little frustrating that they keep doing all these fun colors and then make them so limited.
Yeah, I mean, we can chat about that too. I think there was a lot of frustration that I saw with this one and just actually in the last couple months with anything that's been limited. I think people seem to be over limited editions.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Like, what's your take on, do you hate it? Do you like it?
We're going right into the heavy
Well, let's talk about it a little bit and then we'll do wristwatch check.
Yeah, we'll do this and then we'll get into wristwatch check.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's easy to talk crap about limited editions, especially when you get into some of the brands that tend to put out a lot of limited editions.
Yeah.
But the reality is they sell. I mean, as much as we want to talk crap about it, they sell out for the most part. Most watch brands sell out of their limited editions. So there's obviously a demand for it. I like the idea of having something that not everybody else has.
Yeah.
But it does get annoying when like every 2 days there's a certain brand that's putting out new watches or new Oh man. Bless you. So it can feel like a lot. I think if the limited edition makes sense, like if they're celebrating a certain occasion or, a big anniversary or something like that, obviously the brand that comes to mind with stuff like that is going to be Omega and the Speedmaster. I think as much crap as people talk about it, everybody still like collects these watches. So obviously like they're doing something right and it makes sense. Now, I don't really necessarily agree with just putting out a watch just to say you put out a watch and not changing anything. Like just changing a color and then calling that a limited edition, I don't agree with. So, which is what Zodiac is doing. And they're beautiful, don't get me wrong. And yeah, if I had what was it, $2,000, something like $1,800, something like that. If I didn't just buy all the freaking watches that I've just bought, I probably would have bought that.
Well, the fact is, like Zodiac, and we're not dogging on them because we love these watches.
Zodiac.
We love Zodiac, but they've been doing this for a couple years now. They've been doing these fun summer colors, but they've been making them limited edition. Now, is it because they're not going to sell them at other times of the year that they decided let's make a limited run of these? I don't know. I don't know what their stats are as the ones that I know that they sold out of previous colors because you can't find them anywhere.
Right.
But it's like at this point they know it's a good seller. Why not offer it as a standard watch in the collection? Yeah, it's just a good question.
Well, and I think there's the frustration of having country-specific limited editions, and this was something that we saw a lot of comments on.
But do
you
think that this is country specific because of what's going on right now? Because I thought about that. I thought about maybe that's why they made it just to the
But
US.
how much more difficult would it be to ship it at this point? I mean, stuff is opening, but maybe if this was mid-March or early April, I could see that. But at this point, every country is basically open back up to some sort of extent.
That's
you know,
true.
maybe not fully open like it is here in the South, and we're paying for it.
Yeah.
But, you know, everybody has some form of, like, shipping is getting much faster. I don't have to wait as long on even, you know, there was a time where Amazon, and I'm Amazon Prime, but it would still take 3 or 4 days to get a regular delivery versus now it's back to standard, you know, 2-day delivery.
Yeah.
I think everything's just getting to be a bit more normal in that regard. So I don't necessarily think COVID had anything to do with it. I don't know. That's just, who knows?
I personally, I like limited editions because I am someone that likes having a watch that not everyone else has.
Oh, I agree.
And it does suck that there's times that you can't get your hands on a piece. For instance, a lot of people like to dog Hodinkee. It's not Hodinkee's fault that the watches sell out.
Yeah.
I mean, it is what it is. People like them. They're good looking pieces for the most part. I just don't see anything wrong with it. Like you said, I don't like it when there's just a color change or something very, very minimal and small, because I want it, there needs to be some reason that the watch is special to me.
I agree.
So if there's not, it's like, well, then why is this a limited? I don't get it. I don't understand it. But this is a hobby full of collectors. We like to collect things. So it makes sense that there's limited edition watches that people can collect. Whether they wear them or not, they keep them in a box for 50 years and then sell it. Who cares?
Yeah.
It hurts me to think
about
that.
Can we talk about, like how, man, I wish I had that much self-control. Like I think about it like people who resell these baseball Barbie dolls or whatever. How did, like, as
Beanie
a child,
Babies.
could you imagine not playing with your Barbie doll when you were
or these
a kid?
comic books that are like pristine condition.
Like, who has that sort of, like,
I know.
Tyler does. Like, my kid is that kid who doesn't like play with certain things. But other than that, like, I could not imagine. Now, Beanie Babies, man, I had so many of those things.
So many. I think I still do it. You know what? I need to look through those. Maybe there's a winner in there somewhere.
Well, Tyler's great grandmother passed away recently, so at her house she has tons of Beanie Babies and all that. So
there's some of them that bring in quite a bit of money too.
Know.
But I don't know like anything.
I don't know, and I'm definitely not going to scour eBay to try and find out what Beanie Babies are worth.
I think my mom was more into them than I was at that point.
Really?
Yeah.
I remember going to the mall and like always wanting to get a new Beanie Baby.
Yeah, it was a cool thing to do.
Yeah. Way back, man.
Back before we bought watches.
Way back.
That was a lot cheaper.
Way cheaper. Can we just go back to Beanie Babies? We're just going to turn this into the Beanie Baby podcast.
Our favorite limited edition Beanie Babies.
There we go. Well, so, and while we're on the topic of limited editions, the other thing came up that we're just going to throw it out there. Kat and I are designing limited edition watches.
We are. You know what? It was Friday night a couple weeks ago. And
this is what we do on a Friday night.
It was like 10:30
when we didn't even record together.
Oh, yeah.
Because we recorded together last Wednesday. And my Friday, my week was so thrown off, by the way, because we always are together on Fridays.
That's
and
so
we recorded on Wednesday. And then Friday, I was like, well, what do I do? Like... The world's still shut down,
so we just started.
I don't want to go
we just
anywhere.
started texting.
We decide watch it. So
I can't even remember. Honestly, it may have been this Zodiac. I think we got a sneak peek of it, and you're like,
we were joking about like posting it as the 10 and 2 collaboration, and then like LOL at the very bottom of it. But yeah.
And they're like, what if we designed a Zodiac? What would it look like? And then what if we designed an Oris?
We're ready. Like,
we are ready.
The second 80 brand comes up to us and is like, oh, hey, we were thinking about doing a collaboration. We already have it planned out for all the brands.
People are rolling their eyes at us right now. They're like, who do these girls think they are?
Look.
You have to think ahead. You have to think ahead.
But y'all, we know we're extra and we know that we're ridiculous. That's the thing. We recognize that about ourselves, but
oh my gosh, I will laugh so hard if we end up having a limited edition watch.
There's no way.
There's no way. But it's fun to think about.
It is fun to think about.
I'm really like our draw-ups were pretty good.
Kat's
like we
Kat's
ready.
A pro in some,
we ready.
Some Photoshop skills, man. Like
don't be DMing for those pictures either. It's top secret.
Top secret. Oh man, somebody's gonna one day find our files long
I hope
after
no
this
one
podcast
gets
and just be like, what were these girls doing?
Well, anyway, let's jump into a quick wristwatch check and then we'll start with our list.
Sounds good.
What you wearing today?
So we're talking about limited edition watches. So I am wearing my limited edition Worn and Wound Verusgrau Stova.
It's like the hardest name to say.
It really is, and I'm sure I say it wrong. There's somebody who's German who listens. Like, our listeners in Germany are probably yelling at me.
It's a beautiful watch, though.
It's so pretty. The gray is so stunning. I mean, obviously, y'all know this watch. I have talked about it more times than I probably should on this podcast. Definitely glad that I picked it up. It was limited to 100 pieces.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just such a great watch.
Yeah.
It's really great. And then I've recently bought the Milanese mesh bracelet that Worn and Wound sells.
Yeah.
Which pairs really nicely to with it. I was worried because obviously the case is a sandblasted case, so it's very dark. But it matches really well. So, and it's nice to have kind of a little bit of a bracelet option. But that watch was made for every NATO strap humanly possible, honestly.
It looks great. And I was telling you earlier that I feel like this watch is kind of an underdog. Stova in general, to me, they don't get enough press.
Yeah.
They make some amazing pieces. They're super Bauhaus designed, and they've been around forever. And I think they tend to get overlooked by the bigger brands like Nomos a little bit, and even Young Hands too. I'm a huge fan of Stova. And yeah, this one was such a good dial, such a good color. The texture is amazing on it. I wish there had been a lot more press on it. And they are sold out now, correct?
They are now.
Okay.
They weren't for a really long time.
Yeah.
Which I was so surprised by, because I feel like for 100 pieces, it was just such a great watch. And it was a great price. Now they're sold out. So
very cool.
What do you have on?
So I've got my limited edition on today. I've got the Topper and Zodiac Super Seawolf, the Rally Blue dial.
So freaking cool.
Yeah, I love this watch. And we'll talk a little bit more about it here in a little bit. But yeah. I haven't taken it off the bracelet yet.
No.
I can't. It's so good.
Mm-mm.
I got the tropical strap.
It's good on the bracelet. The tropical strap is really great too. It's very comfortable, but I just really love it on this bracelet.
Jubilee, like, it's really good quality. Like, really, really good quality.
And I'm a Jubilee bracelet hater. Like,
I
talk a lot of crap about Jubilee bracelets. Try to be good for the language, for the kiddos. But yeah, no, the bracelet is absolutely phenomenal. So, and it's the only Jubilee bracelet I've ever worn that I actually like.
Yeah, it fits really good. I actually I think I was like overestimating it a little bit. I had to take it in because it was like really big.
Yeah. It's okay.
I don't have that big. Oh my gosh. I actually measured, because I think we go back and forth on our wrist size.
What size our wrist is.
I was like, I've been like correcting Katlen, being like, no, mine's 6.5. So I came in at like 6.4.
Okay.
But I sized my bracelets to 6.5 because I like,
a little jiggle.
I think we both sized the bracelet itself to probably 6.5 because we like them a little looser. But yeah, the actual wrist size is like 6.39 something. So it's close.
You're very scientific about your wrist
because
size.
I didn't know. And like people ask me all the time, and I just put on there, 6.5. And I mean, basically that's what it is, because that's what the bracelet is. So I'll just keep saying that. Anyway,
we
just wanted to get that.
Talk about limited edition watches to clarify our wrist size.
Sorry.
Just so that you guys
It's a valid point. It's a valid point. I used to
people
do the same
also
thing.
ask our shoe size sometimes. Are we gonna get into that?
No, let's not. No.
All right, so let's get into limited edition watches then. We just thought, in the spirit of talking about limited editions, we would pick a couple of limited edition watches from some of the brands that are most well known for doing limited edition collaborations.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's start off with the big one. Omega.
The big one. Omega. Potato.
Yeah.
Omega, like I said earlier, I think people are too quick to jump on Omega's butt about like how many limited edition watches that they do. And yeah, they do a lot. They also sell out fairly well, their limited edition watches, especially anything that has James Bond on it or Speedmaster in the title is destined to sell out. Now, some of the other ones, like the Olympic ones, I do feel like sometimes it can be a little bit much. But also, I mean, if I had that sort of reputation, screw it, I'd do it too.
Yeah.
You know, like Omega has earned their reputation
but
as
in that
Olympic
case,
timer.
there's a reason for it. So there's the Bond movies that they usually make one
Right.
for. There's Speedmaster for anniversaries. And then even the Olympics, there's only Olympics every few years. It's not something that they can add to their normal catalog. So a limited edition makes sense in those cases. They just happen to have a lot of them.
Right. They just have a lot of reasons to celebrate.
Yeah,
So
that's
don't
nice.
quit hating on Omega, y'all. That's what it comes down to, right? I'm trying to think of any. Now, yeah, I can't really think of any watches that they do just because they change the color and make it a limited edition. Now, sometimes they do limited editions on like precious materials and things like that. And that I can understand, because why are you going to make like, you know, an endless supply of platinum 300s with like a blue lapis dial or something like that. I understand that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
All
so
right.
Omega.
What's your first pick for Omega?
This is hard. So for all of these, we're only going to pick one watch each. But for Omega,
we made an exception.
We did 2 watches each. And then after I picked my 2, I was very stressed out because I kept remembering like more and more pieces. But I'm sticking to my original 2 picks.
Okay.
So my first one.
We could probably do a whole show on this.
Probably.
On just Omega, but we won't. We promise.
My first one is the Alaska Project, which was done in 2008.
So cool.
It has to be, like, y'all know, I've talked about this before. I'm a huge fan of the Ploprof. I love, like, big, random, like, bold watches. And the Alaska Project is it. So it's really cool because it was part of the original space project, and Jim Reagan, who did all of the testing for the Speedmaster, he also was continuing to find like equipment that could, you know, work with or that would be stable with how drastic the temperature swings were on the lunar surface. So like in the 60s, he developed like a watch in a titanium case that could withstand high and low temperatures. And what's really cool is I actually never knew the reason it was called Alaska Project.
Why is that? I don't either.
I thought, like, I've heard this story randomly that like they tested it in like Alaska, whatever, for a cold.
Okay.
No, clearly that's a story. I mean, maybe, but it's fake.
Fake news?
Fake news. At least like I found like a legitimate reason. So like when Omega was working with NASA on like their projects, and I just kind of think about this, like, you know, like the whole space race and you know, the Cold War and all of that stuff, like spies and everything else. So they would have secret names, and they would use cities, countries, or state names as the name of their projects to keep them secretive.
Okay.
And I find that kind of fascinating.
I wonder if there's any others than Alaska, or did they just start with A?
Is there a Nashville watch, y'all?
Or Tennessee?
Tennessee? We need that
Tennessee
limited
project?
edition. We'll work on that limited edition
pretty low on the
collaboration,
list.
Omega. So just so you know. But yeah, so I thought that was really cool. So the Alaska Project is limited to 1,970 pieces.
That's quite a bit.
It's a 42 millimeter case, right?
You would think.
But then there's this ridiculously huge red aluminum outer case that like the watch case goes into. And it could withstand temperatures of minus 148 degrees.
So it protected the watch.
Right.
Yeah.
Between temperatures of minus 148 degrees and then plus 260 degrees Fahrenheit.
It's crazy. What was it made out of?
Aluminum.
Aluminum.
Yeah.
Okay.
So absolutely insane. It's just super cool. It has a
Did you
white
find
dial.
how big it was?
No, I'm trying to find out like how big. It's huge.
Gigantic.
It's huge, y'all. Like huge. I'm doing the hand motion and everything. But yeah, it's ridiculously large. I love it though. I love how it's just one of those.
How
pieces.
badass would it be to like see somebody just like walking down the street with it on?
Yeah. I 100% believe the same.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's just one of those pieces that's kind of crazy and different and bold. If I had this watch, I would only wear it with the case on the outside. I mean, probably not. I'd probably take it off. Because
it's a good looking watch.
It's a beautiful white dial. It's different. It does come on a white, like, Velcro strap. I have seen people put, like, a traditional Moonwatch bracelet on it, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. But yeah.
I have a special place in my heart for white dial speedies. Love them.
Because there aren't many. You don't see them very often.
Yeah.
But yeah, this one is just fun. It's different. It's crazy. And I love it. Definitely on like a grail list. So what is your first Omega?
First Omega. This is one that I probably bring up like every other week on the show. I'm just in love with it. It's the Speedmaster Apollo 11 50th anniversary Moonshine Gold limited edition.
Take a breath now that you said all that.
Yeah. It's stunning. Like, this watch is so stunning. And I think because of this watch, since it was released, I've become such a gold person. because I know I can't afford this. So I'm like, ooh, what else can I get that's all gold? Because I feel like I want an all gold watch. I said it now.
You're living your best 1980s life.
Yes, I want, and I know I'm going to get a two-tone next year, but I want to start playing with gold a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe I can do it.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I feel like gold
I feel like you got to have the right skin tone.
The skin tone is
I've got
what gets you.
olive skin, so maybe it'll work.
I think on your skin tone it would be fine.
Okay.
For sure. I think
I'm going to make it work.
Like, whatever. Screw it. It's a solid gold watch. Say something. Like,
but I mean, what's great about this moonshine gold too, it's not like that yellow.
No.
It's like almost, it's not rose gold, I know, but it's got that warm tone to it. It's not so like brassy in your face, but it's beautiful. This one was limited to 1,014 pieces, came in at a whopping $34,000. So it's not cheap by any means, but it's a girl watch for me. It's such a girl watch. But this is actually, it's almost just like the original that was made in 1969.
Yes.
Of course, they made a lot of upgrades to it as well. And in 1969, they also made only 1,014 pieces of this watch, and they were gifted to NASA's astronauts. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, the red bezel and then the gold, it just works. It works.
I agree.
It's one of my favorites.
Because it's like a burgundy, so like it really matches the gold really well.
Our buddy Floatlight has one, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I really hope that we get to meet him and he brings this watch with him.
Pretty please.
Because I want to wear it on my wrist just once. Just once.
Just to say, we just need the wrist shots.
Yeah.
Like, that's what we need it for. You know, I've realized that maybe we're not so weird, right? That we take wrist shots of like other watches and stuff. There are people who, so I work in a mall, and there are like cars and stuff in the mall.
Yeah.
And then like, or even like, you know, outside of Louis Vuitton or Tiffany, there are people who take pictures in front of those things.
Okay.
So I don't think we're that weird that we take wrist shots.
Okay.
Don't judge us, like regular world. We see you.
They judge us.
I see you sitting in somebody else's car taking a photo for your gram.
A fancy Audi or something.
So I'm doing the same thing, just with somebody else's watch. Okay.
Your next one.
My second my second Omega is one that was actually released last year. And it is the Casamigos limited edition Planet Ocean Deep Black.
I've never heard of that before.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's
you were showing me
everything.
pictures earlier. Like, I literally hadn't heard of this watch.
It was limited to 80 pieces.
Why was it so low key?
I think George Clooney just wanted a new watch, and then they had to make a couple of extras. So Casamigos is a tequila brand that is owned by, or I think he actually has recently sold it, but it was owned by George Clooney, who of course is a huge Omega ambassador. I'm even wearing a tequila shirt today.
Yeah.
Like Tequila's
life.
It has a special place in my heart.
Yeah.
Also, so do Planet Oceans, and this is one of their ceramic models. But what's really cool is, so the black ceramic case was just like, it was more of a matte finish, and then the dial has a really light matte black finish.
Yeah.
So it looks almost gray. And then there's this sexy teal accent.
It is such a good teal.
So good.
Teal and black just go so well together.
And it's the exact shade of teal that Casamigos uses with their tequila. So it came in this stunning, it was actually it was a smaller box too. It wasn't like the huge Moonwatch boxes, but it came in this stunning display box that had like this glass top, and it included a bottle of Casamigos mezcal in it. It had the watch and this really beautiful watch roll too. So it was very practical, like a travel case.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I loved it. It was only limited to 80 pieces.
Yeah, that's really limited.
It's highly limited. And it wasn't even that expensive. It was less expensive than the regular Deep Black Planet Ocean because it doesn't have that exhibition.
I think you nailed it
on.
on the head when you said that George Clooney literally just wanted a new watch. You're like, all right, well, let's make just a couple more of
Right.
these.
We just got, I heard like, I think like 20 or something like that went to him and his friends or something like that.
Gosh.
Yeah. So realistically, there's only probably 60, 65 that were ever sold.
That's crazy. This is the coolest watch. And we're going to put every picture of the watches we talk about on our website.
Yeah.
So hit the link in the bio and you can go straight there. But you have to see this watch. It's super cool.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
You know, I was thinking the new Doxa, that's that, like, what is it? Is it
the carbon?
The carbon one? If they did that with the teal instead of the yellow, how cool would that be? And a lot more affordable.
Doxa. So if you want to reach out to Tenn and 2, that can be our first limited edition
info at
collaboration.
tennand2.com. Just saying.
Okay.
People are like,
well, while I know.
Sorry,
it's fine. We're just playing.
We're just playing.
Ish. We're just dreaming. You know, we would have never thought that thousands of people listen to us on a weekly basis.
It scares me. Don't say that, because then I get real nervous. I don't like it.
And now for a brief message from our friends Topper Jewelers. While we're on the subject of limited edition watches, Rob and the team at Topper Jewelers have partnered with some amazing watch brands over the years to produce innovative and stunning limited edition collaborations. And guess what? They aren't stopping anytime soon. Topper Jewelers has let us in on a few of their 2020 secrets, including an upcoming limited edition partnership with both Zodiac and Oris to be released later this fall. Oh, and a mystery partner that we can't quite figure out just yet. One thing we do know for sure, Topper Jewelers collaborations sell out fast and are designed to honor the spirit of watchmaking in every way. Every single detail is meticulously thought out, with little surprises thrown in that only we enthusiasts would appreciate. Be sure to stay on the lookout for what's to come. You don't want to miss out. Head over to their website, www.topperjewelers.com, to stay up to date with their limited edition selection. That's topperjewelers.com. All right, so Kat, what is your second Omega?
So my second pick is also a Planet Ocean, and this one came out this year. It's the Tokyo 2020 limited edition. Now, I think, honestly, this one might end up being a little bit more limited than it already was, only because the Olympics are not happening this year, unfortunately. And I don't know. I feel like all of these 2020 Olympic ones might end up being a little bit more special down the road. That's just me. That's just what I think.
No, I agree. I think it's one of those things that, like, when something doesn't happen as it was scheduled, like, the merchandise from that kind of becomes a little bit more valuable.
Yeah. I'm not going to say this is like, it's going to be crazy expensive. I mean, it's only priced at just over $7,000. It's limited to 2020 pieces. I love the red lollipop on this one. It's all white, similar to the one that you have, but it's got the red lollipop. It's got the red 20 signifying the year. And it's just a stunning watch. It comes on the leather. It comes with the bracelet. It comes with the gray NATO. It's perfect. And it's a good size. It's 39.5. And it's just a good looking watch. And it's not Olympic in your face either.
Yeah.
You can look at this watch and you're like, oh, that's cool. The 20's red. But other than that, like, you wouldn't say, oh, it's an Olympic edition. There's no rings on it.
I love that.
It's not,
hate when things are overly in your face.
Yeah.
Like, and Omega does it sometimes, like James Bond and the Olympics. Like, I'm not that big of a fan of, I just can't see myself being that big of a fan of anything that I want to buy a multi-$1,000 watch and have it glare at me in the face.
Yeah, unless you were participating in the Olympics or you're a family member, then I get it. But again, I do like some of the Olympic editions. I just don't like the rings and some of the gaudiness of them. But this is just so low key. It's very nice, very well done. I'm excited to kind of see where it goes, where the whole line goes, because they did these amazing Speedmasters too
that were exclusive to Tokyo. When we're talking about country-specific limited editions,
don't get mad.
We see you, Omega, with 5 amazing Speedmasters that could only be sold in Japan.
You can't get mad though, because how many do we get in the U.S.? A lot.
I don't care. I didn't get those, and that blue was amazing.
See, I actually like the red one, the red and like silver dial.
Man.
Yeah, so good.
Now I'm heated.
You're heated. Okay. It's okay. All right. So next, it's not really a brand we're going to talk about.
It's a brand. At this point,
they are. Are they a brand?
They're a brand. They're an empire. Realistically,
they are an empire.
They are.
They're at the top of the food chain.
Yes, they are.
We're talking about Hodinkee, which we love. We love everyone
right,
from Hodinkee.
Absolutely love Hodinkee. And and we kind of talked about this before. Like, everybody talks crap about, or a lot of people talk crap about Hodinkee limited editions. First of all, we're trying to get our own stuff too. So I will be very quick to agree to a limited edition. But you know, it's amazing to me that they've created something that has that much demand and sells out that quickly.
I mean, if we were in the position, if a brand that we both admire came to us right now and said, "Hey, Kat and Katlen, we want to make a limited edition watch for you guys," are we to say no?
Yeah.
No, we're not. So you know, we're not going to say no.
Right.
But I mean, that's the position Hodinkee has put themselves in. They've grown so much over the years. They create amazing content for us every week, and then people just hate on them when they release a limited edition watch.
And their limited edition collaborations make sense. Like, it's not the limited edition, oh, we're just going to change the color and that's it. Like, they're innovative in what they produce, and I absolutely love that.
Yeah, there's usually a great story behind them. I mean, I know that Ben did this limited edition Speedmaster, and it was the Speedmaster I think his grandfather gave him at one point in time. Yeah, it's I don't know. I'm not a hater, is all I'm saying. I'm not a hater of anybody that loves watches and wants to make them. Like, what's to be mad about? If you don't like it, don't buy it.
I feel like I could hate on a few things.
Really?
But I'll try not to.
On people that want to make watch, like limited editions?
No, maybe not. I feel like they're just some watches that I'll hate on. But I admit that I'm a hater.
Yeah.
Like, I'm very open about this. So
non-limited or limited?
Both.
Okay. I mean, there's watches we just don't like. Yeah. But anyway, it's just who we are. We like to judge things. We're judgy. We're judgy people.
We as a society, not just me and Kat. So
yeah,
it is what it is. Y'all know y'all are judging too.
All right. So what's your pick of your favorite limited edition from Hodinkee?
I went with the Nomos Tagente Sport that they did last year, right?
Yeah.
And our friend Abhishek has one, and so I've seen it in person.
Yeah.
And it's so good. Of course, y'all know that I am obsessed with all things gray. So it had this beautiful, it wasn't even just gray though. It was like a gray silver dial. Yeah. And the blue accents. I agonized over buying this one for like
you did
all 5 minutes that they were available. No, I think this one made it for like an hour and a half or so that it was available.
Remember.
Because I do remember I had time to text and agonize over whether or not I should buy it.
And it came on the new like Nomos bracelet that had just been released that year too.
Yes.
No, they nailed it. They nailed it.
I think I love it because this is one that, first of all, I could afford to buy and not like cry afterwards. So like it was something that I genuinely considered picking up. But yeah, I absolutely loved this watch. It was limited to, 300 pieces. It had the 36.5 millimeter case size, but on the wrist, I mean, Nomos just does that. Nomos fits so much larger on the wrist than you would expect. And I think a lot of that just has to do with the way that their lugs are designed. But yeah, it's stunning. I love this watch. And I like to see that Hodinkee, I think it's easy to say that Hodinkee has this reputation of being a little bit like higher end brands and things like that. But like now in the last year, you see so much more coverage of like things that are under $2,000. And I mean, even now they carry G-Shocks, at the Hodinkee shop. And I love to see Hodinkee kind of expanding what all they cover, what all they collaborate with. Yeah. So I really enjoy it.
Yeah. I do too. That's a great model. The texture on the dial on that Nomos is just crazy. I think when we met, probably in the last watch club we had, I don't even remember when that was now, I saw that watch, but it was in the dark.
Yeah. I think that was the last watch club meetup we had was shortly after this watch was released. Okay. And we made Abhishek bring it to the meetup because we would have been devastated.
I need to see it in the light. And his photos of it are amazing. And he's been playing with a lot of strap options on it too lately. He's been killing it with the strap game. Yeah. But it's a good looking watch.
For sure.
Great pick.
All right.
Hodinkee was hard.
It was because there's so much.
Yeah, they've done a ton of really great ones.
Yeah.
So my favorite is the Tag Heuer limited edition Carrera, the Skipper. I freaking love this watch. Yep. This is super limited. The original Skipper, made in 1967, is already just such a collectible piece. And so they upped the case a little bit. They went from a 35 to a 39, which is understandable in modern day times.
But
it's a little bit bigger.
The original, the 35, and I'm a hater of small watches, but it's on the wrist. Like I had one on my wrist.
Yeah,
y'all.
that's crazy.
It sits so good.
Oh, I'm jealous that you got to see an actual one, like a real one.
I'll see if
not that this is not a real one.
No, but like the original,
the OG.
The OG.
No, but it's just such a good looking, it's such a fun watch. Yes. And I think to make something that is already limited, to make it a little bit more available, they made only 125 of these, which is kind of a bummer. I wish there would have been a little bit more. It came in at $5,900, which isn't like crazy expensive for a Tag Heuer. It's my favorite watch. Like, it makes me smile every single time I see this watch. Super jealous. I think if you try to find one now on the gray market, they're going for over $20,000. So probably never going to have one. But I love this watch. Like out of all of these limited editions, this one actually might be my favorite out of everything.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. I just love it. I love the case design. It looks great on a NATO. I mean, I don't know. I don't know why I love it so much. I just do.
Well, and I think
I have no relationship. I don't yacht. I don't do anything in the water. Although I'm like extremely scared of anything to do with the ocean. I do have like this weird connection to it. Like I love watching movies, and I've said this before.
Yeah.
Like I'm obsessed with it because I'm so scared of it. It's one of those things.
Good thing you
it's
take
like a
cruises.
fear. I don't take cruises no more.
You took
I learned my
and you're
lesson.
done.
I learned my lesson. Never again.
You know, I think that when we talk about how well this is done, you can really tell when you have actual watch enthusiasts designing a watch. And I feel like that's something that comes through with all of Hodinkie's reiterations of pieces. Even so, you were talking about Ben Clymer's the Speedmaster. So that was the Mark 40, I think. It really, when you compare it to the original Mark 40 watch, like everything about it is so spot on, and I love that. I think that it really shows people who are passionate about watches versus just passionate about making money. And that's the difference to me with somebody like Hodinkee doing limited editions and with some, some other like random jewelers and things like that just do something, and don't innovate in any sort of way.
Yeah.
And as a collector, as an enthusiast, really, I appreciate that. I appreciate people who are just as passionate as I am being the people who are designing these watches.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
And you can see that come through with many of their pieces.
Oh, yeah. I mean, really, with all of the watches that we're talking about today, like these are well thought out of. We weren't going to pick anything that we didn't like. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so Worn and Wound, another of the big guys who do limited edition collaborations. Worn and Wound has done a lot of really fun pieces over the years, and so we figured we would talk about their collaborations.
Yeah.
And what our favorite ones are from them.
Perfect. You want me to start?
I can start.
We'll
just keep going with the same pattern so we don't forget.
What's your favorite Worn and Wound collab?
I mean, the
or
Stova.
limited.
The Stova.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. Like,
you had to go for it.
It's just so good. You know, I love, and Worn and Wound does some really amazing things. Like they do. They're limited edition. And what I love seeing the guys over there, I love seeing that now their limited edition collaborations are selling out just as fast as Hodinkie's.
I know, they are.
I think it's frustrating, but it's really phenomenal. And I think, again, you see that comes with the hard work and the dedication that actual watch enthusiasts are putting into designing watches made for it's stuff that they wear. Like if you look at all of their individual Instagram accounts, they wear these watches. It's not just a watch that they design and then they sell it and you never see it again.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially I think in the last year, their limited edition collaborations have to be some of my favorite ones that I've seen from really anybody other than, one off or two from Hodinkee, as far as like from any sort of like watch media.
And they're usually
blog.
a little bit more affordable, a little bit more available. Like you said, that's starting to change. We're seeing them sell. I think those Baltics that they had not that long ago sold out in
so quick.
And the Lauriers too.
Yeah, they sold out insanely quick.
I think people didn't even look at the watch. They just bought. They're like, buy now.
Like if it says Hodinkee or Worn and Wound on it, like just buy it.
Just buy it.
Whatever. Yeah. So yeah, the Stova Varus Grau. Again, I was surprised that this one didn't sell out as quickly, but I think what you talked about, it just wasn't covered as much.
Yeah.
And I think that people don't necessarily pay as much attention to Stova. But I absolutely love this watch.
Very cool.
So what about for you?
For me, I went with their Autodromo Group B Series 2, the wind-up edition.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of these Autodromo watches, and I got to try one on when we were in San Francisco, and I love the integrated bracelet. It's just such a cool design. It looks like a car. I mean, I know it's not a car, but it just has that aesthetic. That's what the brand is going for, and they were very successful at that. I mean, it reminds me of an 80s car. And so with Worn and Wound, they had the like bright, it's not really a teal blue. It's like an 80s blue. I don't know.
That's what we're going to call it.
I'm going to call it an 80s blue. This one was limited to 145 pieces. Came in at $975, which isn't bad, and it's not more expensive than the other, Autodromo pieces. And that's something else we haven't really talked about is like pat on the back when you don't upcharge for a limited edition.
Agree.
They're around the same
100%.
price as the others, especially when you just change a couple colors. Yeah, there's no reason
because
to.
you could. Let's be honest.
They could.
There are a lot of brands who and brands do this.
Mm-hmm.
We see it with Omega. We see it with every other brand that we're going to talk about. They charge a little bit more for a limited edition, and it is kind of justified. A lot of times you're getting a cooler box. You get like add-ons, like an extra strap or things like that. Plus, there's kind of a fee that I expect to pay to have something that not everybody else has, but. I feel like Hodinkee price point is pretty well on track with what you would expect for what they're selling, and same with Worn and Wound.
Yeah.
I feel like they're very fair in their pricing of their limited edition watches.
Absolutely. Let's skip Toppers. Let's go to Oris, and then we'll come back to Toppers.
Yeah.
Just to get a brand.
Yeah.
I don't want people to be like, oh, they're just talking about media people.
Go for it.
All right. So the next one we're going to jump into is Oris. And man, there was a lot of options here too.
There is a lot. And what I love about Oris is all of their options, all of their limited editions, for the most part, are centered around some sort of environmental cause and environmental relief. And we've talked about this before. Like, environmental causes are something that we're really passionate about, both, individually. And I love supporting a brand that's equally passionate about that. And Oris is. And I don't feel like they do it just to say that they do it. Like almost every limited edition watch they do has some sort of environmental relief tied into it. And I just absolutely love that. They're not doing it just to say that they're doing it. They're doing it for a reason. So
Absolutely.
I support it.
So what's on your list?
I went with the Ocean Trilogy set. So this was a really neat set. It was introduced in, I don't remember when it was introduced. I think 2018 or 19. Maybe 18. Let's go with 18. Don't come at me, y'all. I'm sorry. And it was limited to 200 pieces. What's really neat about this is it had 3 watches in it. So for around $10,000, you're getting 3 watches. And then it had the Great Barrier Reef watch, which of course proceeds go to the Reef Restoration Foundation. It had the Oris Clean Ocean, which went towards Pacific garbage cleaning. And then there was a really unique chronograph, which Oris had not done before, called the Blue Whale. And this watch was only available in the box set. So I think it's kind of cool that it makes the box set special in some way, that you could only get this watch with that. The box is absolutely stunning too. It's made out of recycled plastic, the same material and the same pattern that you find on some of the case backs of their limited edition watches. It's just beautiful. All of them have that beautiful gradient blue dial. And I like that, even though it's 3 blue watches essentially, but they're all so different that you can justify buying all 3 of them and having the
share
set
with
of all
the fam.
3. What?
So share them with the fam.
There you go.
Everybody gets a watch.
Maybe that's how you justify buying watches.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, I was thinking that would be a hard buy for me, because I don't know that I'd want all 3 of them unless I was a pure collector and wanted to keep the box set as is. But maybe if I was going to share one with my husband, or if you had someone else that you were going to give one to, that would be kind of cool to buy all 3 together. Yeah, especially because you get the one that you can't even get outside of that
exactly.
set. So but yeah, big congrats to Oris for giving back. We love that. So I went with the Oris Aqua's Source of Life limited edition, and this one's really cool. And I honestly I didn't even know about this watch until I started Googling into Oris's limited edition watches. But this one got its inspiration from the River Rhine, which is near the village of Holstein, which is the home of Oris since 1904. And like the pointer date, this one actually features an inner date wheel. And it's not on the outside of the dial, it's on the inside of the dial, just under where the hour indices are. And it has like a rotating disc, and it goes each day of the week. Something you really don't see on a diver, and love it or hate it, some people might say it's a little hard to read. I like it. It almost gives it a like GMT aesthetic. It's not a GMT, but I think for functionality, a date is more important, in my opinion.
For sure.
I don't need to know the time in the UK all the time, but or anywhere else in the world, to be honest with you. So I do like that they thought outside the box, and Oris does that. They think outside of the box, and you see that with a lot of their limited editions. You see it with just some of their watches they offer, period. They're not afraid to play with colors, and they don't shy from limited editions at all. No. Especially when they use the proceeds to give back in some sort of way. I do like that. I appreciate that. It makes me want to buy the watch even more.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, that is my pick.
Moving on to Zenith.
Or let's go to Toppers.
Let's go to Toppers.
Let's go to Toppers.
Let's go to Rob.
Let's go to Burlingame, California.
Let's go to Rob, who has new watches coming out too.
Yeah, he always has something coming out.
I know.
He's always cooking up something.
He'll only tell us about 2 of them too. You'll have probably by this point in the podcast heard the ad for Rob. But yeah.
Which, by the way, we're bringing up Topper Jewelers. This is in no way a sponsorship. When we talk about Toppers on the show or any of our sponsors, it's 100% our content. Our sponsorships, they're the 30-second ad, 60-second ad, and that's where it ends. That's where it ends.
We genuinely, okay, if you've been listening to our podcast for a long time, you would know that we've been talking about Topper Jewelers since way before Rob ever started sponsoring some of the episodes.
Yeah.
We've talked about eBay well before eBay sponsored an episode. You know, we talk about these things. Our content will always be original and us.
And that includes what we talk about on the show.
That includes what we talk about on the show. That includes what's on our website. There will always be, you'll know when something's sponsored. Yeah. We tell you. That's why we put the ad right there at the very beginning of the podcast, because we do want to keep it very clear to people and be very transparent.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
With that being said,
let's go to Topper.
Let's go to Toppers. So what's your pick? What's your favorite Topper limited edition?
I'm going with one of their very first limited edition watches, which was the Nomos Zurich World Time.
Nice.
Yeah. And we got to see this when we were over in Burlingame.
Yeah.
When we visited with
we
Rob.
went over there, and Rob was like, "Here, where are these limited edition watches?" He gave you one of the Nomos. He gave me the World Timer, and I was double wristing for most of the whole day that we were there. But it's an incredible watch.
It is, and I love that. So Rob is obviously a watch guy, 100%. So when he looks at doing these limited edition collaborations, there's something that's going to happen with it. There's detail. There's a legitimate reason to have it. So with this particular one, this was the first time that Nomos had done a white lacquer dial. It also paired it with the blue steel hands, and I love this idea. And if we ever do a World Timer, we're stealing this idea. Sorry, Rob. But instead of it saying LA on the dial, he changed it to Burlingame.
Yeah.
And I just love that. I think that's absolutely adorable. It was limited to 30 pieces. And actually $200 of each of those watches went towards the Burlingame Parks and Recreation tree replacement fund. So
that's
I think
nice.
that it's really nice that he gave back to his local community as well. And Burlingame is such a beautiful area too. So, but yeah, I absolutely love this watch. It was probably one of my first experiences with the World Timer, like on the wrist and just kind of messing around with it.
Yeah.
Setting it and the way that it wears.
I love the way that they do those discs in there, and it creates the texture and the depth of the dial too.
Right.
It's very well done.
It's a very easy way to create texture. And it wasn't too busy. It was very traditional with what you'd expect from Nomos and a very clean dial. But yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Very cool.
Also, we know 2 of the watches that are coming up, and I think I'm going to really enjoy this too. Rob is going to kill me. All the watches.
All of the watches.
Speaking of all the watches, what do you got, Kat?
So I went for the one that I'm actually wearing on my wrist today, which is my favorite. It's the Zodiac Toppers limited edition Blue Rally. And for those I don't know, so Rob worked with his brother Russ on this, and they also worked with, of course, Zodiac and Eric Singer of the band Kiss.
That is so awesome.
So I said that on Instagram, and someone had no idea. And I was like, no, go to their website, and there's a ton of information. There's interviews with Eric Singer. There's a bunch of stuff on YouTube as well. But yeah, he is like a huge watch guy.
Right.
And he worked with Rob on some other limited edition watches. But yeah, he came together with him, and a huge fan of Zodiac, both of them. Rob has talked about his love for Zodiac for so long. And they came up and they recreated the Rally dials, which are very limited to Zodiac. You can't really find a lot of the vintage ones out there. So I thought that was really cool. It's a beautiful watch. And I mean, I'm maybe I'm biased in saying that, but I just love it. They're so
would have picked
fun.
that watch, except for I knew you were going to pick that watch. So I felt like it would have been a little tacky for me to pick the watch that you actually bought.
Well, these are limited to 82 pieces. I think I heard Rob say there's a couple more left. Just throwing that out there. They came in at $1,400 or kind of close to $1,500. 200-meter water resistant, chronometer movement. They actually have sort of an in-house movement. It's kind of cheating, but it's a Swiss-made STP movement, which is made by Fossil, and Fossil owns Zodiac.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's an in-house. It's kind of cheating, but I'm going to say it's an in-house movement. Just a fantastic watch that comes in at a really affordable price point. I just love it. The dial is like the gradient from the middle to the outer is, I mean, gosh, it looks so freaking good.
And this blue looks so different in every sort of light.
Yeah.
It's totally different. It's one of the more frustrating dials to photograph for sure.
It definitely is.
And then the blue and white bezel, the Raleigh bezel is just so fun.
And you know, the yellow version they did too, while yellow's not my favorite color, it was really fun.
Yeah.
And it's a really good looking watch. That yellow one on the Jubilee looks so good too.
Oh, for sure.
And that's coming from someone that doesn't even like yellow. And then, of course, they did the White Wolf, which is just boom. Perfection. Did Abhishek have one of those
Abhishek
too?
has one.
He has a White Wolf.
Abhishek has all the cool watches.
Our buddy has all the watches. Yeah, all the cool watches.
All the
watches. And he has the Toppers Ninja too.
I know.
He's a Toppers fan.
I know.
All right, so we're going to end the show. And we know that there's a lot more limited edition watches. We might revisit this one day with a couple of different brands.
Including the Tenn and 2 one.
Yeah. That'll be a while. Might be waiting a bit for that one.
I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna buy an SKX and mod it, and that's gonna be the Tenn and 2.
The Tenn and 2 limited edition.
If we're being realistic, we each have a Tenn and 2 limited edition watch coming for our 1-year anniversary of the podcast.
It's a custom watch, but is it a limited?
Custom, limited to one of each one. It's not just an engraving though. The case is being custom finished for us.
That's true.
So I feel like what makes something a limited edition?
It's whatever you say it is.
All right. Well, we have Tenn and 2 limited
Katlen
edition watches.
1-to-1.
1-to-1.
Sold out.
Never gonna happen again. Mine is really sold out.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, let's end it on kind of a wild card. Just something random, not a specific brand that we thought was mentionable. So what's your wild card pick?
My wild card pick is the Project Aware Doxa. This is the watch that started my love affair with Doxa and the sub 300.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with this watch. I think it came out in 2017, limited to 300 pieces, I think. It had the turquoise style, which I will swear looks a little bit more teal than the new turquoise style does, but probably not. I'm still fantasizing about a more teal dial. But yeah, I was not over. I mean, I have a friend who had a Doxa before that, so I've worn his Doxa a couple times. But this really made me start to pay much more attention to Doxa and fall absolutely in love with the brand. I was head over heels in love with this watch. So yeah, that
I love that it was like that one watch that.
Yeah.
Before then, you weren't like a huge Zodiac or a Doxa fan.
No, I had tried on my friends when we would hang out a little bit, but that was it. But I mean, I remember checking the Doxa website all the time because I was just like, y'all know, if you didn't listen to the podcast the end of last year, I agonize over buying watches. It's terrible. Mm-hmm. If you remember my Stova experience, and I probably drove every single listener insane with it. So same thing with the Doxa, and then I just
you ended up buying them.
Yeah. Well, I didn't buy the Doxa.
Not yet.
So I didn't. It's sold out.
Oh, this specific one.
This specific one was sold out. So, but yeah, I agonize over buying watches and spending money. It's ridiculous. But yeah, I love this watch.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
What about for you? Random?
Just random?
Yeah.
So mine is one that probably, it probably doesn't even fit me, which is kind of sad. But it's the Panerai Submersible, the 42 millimeter 01055, which is the green dial, green rubber strap version. I love this watch. You know, I love green. And this is so cool. So they made 500 of these, came in at $8,700, which is not like super pricey for a limited edition Panerai.
No.
And it was kind of a nod to their military history. And it was the first one in the Submersible series to feature that in-house movement too. But I love this watch. Every time I see it on Instagram, I'm just like, I save it. Like I save all the pictures. It's probably filling up my I don't know if those ever get like filled up, like the save inbox on your Instagram.
The bookmarks?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably so. It's probably full of these Panerai pics.
All just watches.
But I like the submersible series, but this one is my favorite. And of course, it's limited. I think they are actually sold out at this point. But 42 millimeters, maybe I could pull it off. We'll see.
It's great.
We'll see.
Yellow. We'll see.
I don't know. I shouldn't say we'll see. Maybe I'll get to try one on at some point.
Kat's just gonna start buying watches in secret.
But anyway, yeah, this is my favorite. It's one of my favorites.
I like it.
And yeah, there's a lot of. I mean, there's so many limited edition watches. Like we could
Go
do like.
on.
I'm gonna name this episode Part 1 because there's gonna be multiple parts later down the road.
For sure.
Yeah,
I agree. I'm good with that.
We'll revisit
Part
it.
1. We will revisit for sure. And let us know in the comments on our website, Instagram, wherever, what are your favorite limited edition watches too. And speaking of which, make sure that you visit our website, www.tennand2.com, spelled TENN, to check out our show notes. We'll have pictures of everything. Follow us on all of our social medias, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter at Tenn&2 Media. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Video for real coming.
Yeah.
Like next week, right?
No, this weekend. This coming weekend.
Oh my God.
By the time this episode
We're
comes
going to
out.
have a YouTube video this weekend, y'all.
Y'all don't hate on us, please. This is our first video. Don't leave us nasty comments. Be nice. Please be nice.
Oh, man.
We're scared.
We're scared. Man. So, and thank you guys for all of your kind words and your support about our eBay video that we did with collaborating with eBay and their Watch from Home Week. We really appreciate all of the support. It was very humbling and very exciting. So with that said, we will talk to you next week or Friday, or we'll talk to you soon.
See you soon.
All right.
Talk to you soon.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.